Our next 30-day intermittent fasting challenge starts on the 3rd of February. If you are looking for a 30-day reset where you can dive into not only your health, but also taking a look at dropping body fat or increasing your muscle mass, increasing your performance in the gym, or just in your day-to-day life, getting a little bit more mental clarity, then this program is definitely worth checking out. Like I said, it starts on the 3rd of February. Ideally, you guys should be signing up at least that week before, so you've got time to prep, because you will need to figure out the amounts of foods that you're eating. Head across to www.thechieflife.com. You can click into the little tab, which is our nutrition tab, and you'll find a little bit more information around what the 30-day fasting challenge entails. I look forward to helping you guys out on that program. Welcome to the Chief Life Podcast,
where we deliver guests and knowledge from around the world right to your ears,
focusing on nutrition, exercise, health, and wellness.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Chief Life Podcast. I am Matthias Turner, and today I have Marcus Freudenmann with me. Marcus, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
To give you a little bit more background around Marcus, he's the founder of Truly Heal, and they've run a documentary which is Cancer is Curable Now. You've been involved with researching different effective cancer therapies and really kind of looking into the functional medicine health. Like, you've developed a functional medicine health course, coaching course, but realistically kind of really diving into the pulse electromagnetic field therapy, so PEMF, as some people may have heard it related to. There's also the ozone therapy, energy medicine, and then also in general the hyperthermia. So I'm really kind of excited to go into this, because I've touched on little bits and pieces of all of these with different doctors and different specialists, but to really dive into it on a deeper level and figure out, I guess, what's really happening here and how you guys are doing the things that you do. But what I'd love to dive into first, Marcus, is what kind of led you down this route? Where's the pain point for you that made you look after and go after cancer? Like, what started that route for you?
Well, it's good that you ask the question that way. What's the pain point? Because that's usually what motivates us to keep searching. Well, I had a very good friend of mine diagnosed with cancer, and it was pretty abrupt, pretty sudden, and we all felt kind of responsible to look for solutions.
Yep.
So my wife is a naturopath. She looked after all the maintenance and which tests and which treatments, and I've focused on all those treatments that are not as legally available, you know, the miracle cures that you can buy all over the internet, GCMAP and this and that. So I was taking on that role of the villain, finding all the illegal things, and my wife took the normal route. And we put pretty much together, and it became a huge amount of knowledge. I interviewed probably about 50 doctors and shared all their information, and then we tried pretty much everything. We tried everything.
Yeah.
And it was so, whether it's chaga mushrooms and, all the different beta-glucans and this and that and resveratrol, it just became like a consuming of anti-cancer remedies, and nothing really worked. Nothing took hold. And I always thought, maybe it's us, maybe we do it wrong, maybe we do it in the wrong way, maybe it's not meant for us, maybe we're too far progressed, whatever it was, you have always those thoughts. And finding all those cures actually wasn't very satisfactory. It was very costly.
I can imagine.
Nothing seemed to be giving us the result that we looked for.
Yeah.
And the same thing on the other side, the doctor was pushing more and more for chemo, was putting a lot of pressure on the family. We all didn't know how to handle that, what to do. Nobody had a real solution. And that's when actually our real birth was, when we noticed how helpless you are in that situation. It's an overwhelm on information. It's a lot of things that are promised to work, they don't work.
Yeah.
Then you sit there in your panic. The conventional field makes a lot of pressure for treatment. And if you don't have a solid stand, a solid understanding about health, you fall over quite easily.
Yeah, yep, definitely.
And that's where it became pretty obvious that this is something we need to help out. And I at that stage still thought, I'll find the right cure, let's fix it mentality, Bob the Builder. And somehow it wasn't. I started then to go overseas and interview doctors in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Denmark, Italy. And then I packed up, went back home and said to the family, look, this is too interesting. This is too much information that we can't miss. And I packed up everybody, 4 kids and my wife, 5 suitcases.
Wow.
Are you still
yes,
there?
I'm still here. Yeah, I just turned off my video. It was just lagging slightly.
Okay,
you keep
good.
going.
Sorry. Yeah, so we packed up everybody and we started the tour. We went to Thailand, to India, to all of the Asian countries to study medicine, then to Europe, Mexico, America, Canada, and then came back home. And that's where we put together the information about the documentary. And we also created the Truly Heal Academy. And you know what was the biggest change that could happen during that whole tour?
What's that?
It was like the perception,
that
understanding it was probably my understanding of we can fix this.
Yeah.
You get humbled with cancer very, very fast. Like that arrogance, we've got a cure or we can fix things is short-lived, very short-lived. And at first, like you go from extreme hope to excitement, and then you have that big drop into it didn't work, and then again and again and again, and after a while you come to that point where you lose hope, you lose that understanding. And we came to that point 2 or 3 times, and I never forget the interview. I was sitting with Dr. Rao in Switzerland, and I asked him my questions about treatments and this and that, and he said, Marcus, I'm really sorry, but your questions are kind of stupid. And I was like, thank you. What do you mean? And he said, well, you're asking the wrong questions.
Okay.
It's not about treatments. It's not about treating the body, treating the disease. We need to figure out what's wrong with the patient.
Yeah.
And look, I have here 3 cancer patients. All 3 have breast cancer, 3 women, breast cancer. One had a causality from really bad lifestyle, bad eating habits, self-loathing, self-minimization, low self-esteem. She was abused as a child. She had very bad eating habits, leaky gut, and unhealthy lifestyle, consumption goods, the cleaning material, everything unconscious.
Yeah.
He said that amasses enough toxicity and problems and lifestyle issues that cause the disease. The second client that comes in had EBV virus combined with mold toxicity. Mold slows down pretty much all detox functions in the body.
Yep.
EBV virus, when combined with mold, becomes 20,000 times more toxic. So that was her causality. And the last one had an MTHFR impairment, several detox impairments. She had what we call being bred from unhealthy stock. It's a very difficult thing for some people to swallow, but if your whole lineage, your whole parenthood, everybody was sick and had chronic degenerative diseases and all sorts of weaknesses and didn't resolve them, then that also feeds into so she was having very big detox pathway problems, methylation problems. She had absorption problems. She had a bad gut biome with a lot of, and that was her causes. And he said, look, all 3 patients require completely different treatment modalities and focus in order to resolve the breast cancer. And that's why asking and looking for treatments is kind of futile and stupid. So when you want to work with me, let's look for causes. And that's when our perspective completely changed. Instead of looking at what treatments we could buy and get and do and go to a clinic and stay 3 weeks, how about we evaluate first what are the systems that are out of balance, what are the different problems that a patient may have, and resolve those. And that was kind of so much easier. It was so much easier than treating cancer and all those variations of cancer and all those many treatments. all of a sudden we just had to do a cleanup job. So finding out what your gut biome is like, and you know that as a coach, we live in a miraculous, we live in a perfect time. We can do a stool test and get a complete DNA profile of how our gut works and how well we consume, absorb nutrients, what parasites we have, what bacteria overgrowth we have. Really great. So doing a stool test and knowing how my gut is doing, how my liver detox profile is doing, how my absorption rates are working, how alkaline my body is, how well I transform my food and my drink into energy, bang, all of a sudden we have a possibility to test out where the problems are and then resolve those. And in the early stages, when we started with that process, it just became quite complex. As you can imagine, it's big, it's a lot of subjects. And when you start from the mind and self-loathing and self-minimization, and then you go to habits and lifestyle and sleeping patterns, and then you go to diet, drinking habits, and then you cover all the physical aspects of the body, it becomes quite a big quest. And that's where we started to make those mind maps and flower power mind maps, as I call them, to not forget certain areas. And to or a certain point that could be contributing to disease. And we work with over 100 doctors to add to that chart, to find out where all the problems come from, how easiest to check, how to analyze the specific way, but knowing, okay, this is a contributing factor. And then we started to work with clients that way, and it was just mind-blowing. People who had been for years fighting the disease without success, or just maintaining, the status quo but not getting better, all of a sudden started to resolve their problems. And patients reversed cancer, and it just changed the whole dynamic. And that's pretty much what we've put together in that whole quest and search for a solution for a friend.
Yeah, wow, that's absolutely unreal. And I mean, there's so much in there that I really love. In particular, talking about, or to put it easy, like you can't paint a dirty car. And I think so many people really go about trying to change their diet without changing their lifestyle, or they'll try to change their lifestyle without changing their diet. And that's even on a minor scale, like a micro scale, when it might just be like, hey, I need to lose some weight, so I'm going to do these things. Not talking about a macro scale when it comes to something like disease, like cancer. But yeah, it's really quite interesting that you kind of brought it up in that route. Like obviously you had to get to that point of what is the cause, because that is what functional medicine does. And it's quite interesting. I always kind of think not always, because that's bad way to put it, but every once in a while I will think, what would I do if I got cancer? Like, what are the things I would do? And that's definitely something that had always come to me, is more so like, well, you'd figure out what the cause is in regards to lifestyle and whatever else, not just go straight to the different protocols being like, oh, I'm going to fast, or I'm going to go juicing, or whatever it might be. Like, yeah, I've always kind of thought like, no, you'd go and figure out the cause. So that's really cool that you guys have kind of come to this and created this and really built it up. I really admire that.
Yeah, and you just mentioned something really interesting, like trying out, going to fast, going to a ketogenic diet, trying this, trying that. That's what the normal process is. That's what most patients do. They just go and test things and hope they work. And it's always that, what I said, that excitement, that hope, and then it doesn't. I had a friend, everybody said ketogenic diet, no sugar, and then you starve the cancer. Well, he went onto the ketogenic diet and his cancer tripled in size in that period of time. And then you have other people where it does good.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Which one? Is it for someone who has kidney problems? They can't go onto a high protein diet. There's the carnivore diet that is really effective in many treatment modalities, and it works for some patients absolutely perfect.
Special autoimmunity.
And for others, it's detrimental.
Yeah.
And you can do the same thing with the vegan diet or vegetarian diet. It is always important to know what your circumstances are, what your gut biome is, how your leaky gut is. If you can't digest proteins very well because you have kidney problems, well, then a protein diet is really difficult. And then some plant-based proteins that you can take, they often require huge amounts of energy to be digested.
Exactly right.
And to be converted.
Not bioavailable. If you don't
have the right bacteria, exactly, then nothing works. So we found that all of that confusion that we see out there and all the different concepts that are right in some way, but they lack out on others, it really always is kind of luck. And that's where we focused on, finding out before we go into suggesting, do this diet or that diet, how is your body handling it?
No, I mean, that's really...
And it makes...
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah. It just makes more sense than to try it the other way around. Certainly you can go for 6 weeks on different diets and try out, but let's face it, how many people are that dedicated or see it as neutral? Diet is today religion. It has nothing to do with how to get well. It's like, I join this community and now I pray to that vegan god. It's not a process of elimination. It's a kind of spiritual journey.
Something that I really dislike is the fact that doctors will often say, and I guess it depends on the stages, but typically it gets to the stage of, hey, we need to have chemo, and you just need to eat whatever you can right now because we just need you to keep the calories in. And I understand what they're doing. Like, obviously you don't want to atrophy. You don't want the body to lose muscle because that's when death happens from cancer. But there's definitely a better route than saying go and eat anything. Like, you shouldn't just be going and eating ice cream and eating pies or whatever just because that's the food that might be the food you can get in right now. It's like, no, you should definitely make a more of an effort to, I guess, progress and try to have the foods that are more beneficial. And my dad's actually had cancer before. He had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and he kind of came to us. It was the first time he's ever asked me for help, and it was while he was pretty much going through chemo. And he's like, look, I need to know what to eat. And it was absolutely, like, for me, it was awesome because it was the first time I could actually say to Dad, like, hey, these are the foods that are causing a lot of inflammation in your body. These are the things that you can do. Every time I tried to talk to him about that beforehand, it would go in one ear and out the other because it's like, oh, you're my son, I'm meant to give you the tips. But it was really nice for that to happen, and it was great for me to kind of see, like, he would trust it and go through the process. The thing that is a little bit heartbreaking is that after he's gone through it and now he's clear, after I think it's been like 18 months or something, he's started to revert back to some of the old eating habits. I'm like, Dad, like, these are the things that potentially had caused your cancer. And so it's interesting to see that happen. So he goes in and out of waves, and it's one thing that is like, I guess everyone has those battles. It's probably the same for you and your family. I'd say, like, people don't want to listen to you because you're too close to them, unfortunately.
Not only that, it's for everyone. Look, cancer is a lifestyle change on a very global scale. It's not just a small change. And it's how willing are you to go the whole way? Like we tend to take shortcuts. We tend to, when we don't have the pain anymore, we don't need to move forward.
Exactly.
It's unfortunately, life is a little bit built on convenience instead of appreciating challenge.
Yeah.
And that's why we found it is always the patient needs to be willing and interested for themselves to live longer and to live a more fulfilled life. And if cancer is a way out, if it's a convenient way to work less, to have more people look after you, more people to take care of you, then, healing is not really the main purpose that we want to achieve. It's the willingness of the patient or to overcome the disease it showcases the willingness of us to make those changes that need to be done, and they are not just in an individual's life.
Yeah, totally.
It's involving families, it's involving our children, it's involving education. We need to open up to self-empowerment, to understanding how we cause disease, leaving things away in the supermarket, not joining the ranks of follow the followers. So it's a way. I think cancer is one of the most massive and spiritual wake-up calls that we can have.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually probably one of the best things that's ever happened to my dad because it got him out of his funk. He was in depression for 20 years, which is probably a big part of what brought on the cancer as well. And to be honest, it was it's made him reconnect with his family. It's made a lot of things happen that were not happening beforehand, and it's really just changed him. Like, he was a complete introvert that would go internal just because it got to the stages where obviously, like, that was just how his life was, and now he's really come out of his shell, and it's kind of crazy. It's like reborn at 55 or whatever he was when he first got cancer. And so it's as terrible a thing it is, it also is one of those things that you can see really can help someone as well if they get to see out the other side. And I mean,
well, like your title, The Chief Life.
Yeah.
It's like a call to action to become a chief in your own life.
Exactly right.
To stand your own ground, to create your own privacy, interest groups, and the surroundings. You need to be in charge what you buy and what you want to eat and how to nourish your body. You know, it's in so many ways, it's the chief life that you need to decide to live. And that's why when I saw the title of your podcast, it was like, yes, that's actually it. Patients need to become the chief of their life. Mm-hmm. And that encounters so many areas, and we've covered many of those in our free training. You know, like how to deal with stress. It's not like thinking positive and hoping stress goes away. It's like resolving stress.
Yeah.
We do that in so many areas, you know, like when you have financial stress, well, that stress away as long as you have financial problems.
Exactly. Hey, Marcus, before you continue.
So how can I earn money? How can I organize my money better? How can I... Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, before you continue, can you just pause your video? It's just lagging quite a lot. This weather's crushing us. If you could just turn your video off, and then we'll just continue from there.
Okay.
It's still freezing on my end, but there we go. Great. Go for it. So sorry, if you've got financial stress, obviously
Should we just do a fresh call?
No, this is fine. It's continued on now. So yeah, if you've got financial stress, obviously the way to get rid of financial stress is to look into what's causing the financial stress. Is not to actually sit and worry because or think good things because you've got financial stress.
Exactly. So the positive thinking doesn't work. You need to resolve that problem. And the same if you have relationship problems, you know, like if you're abused, if you're in a dreadful situation, you need to remove yourself from that situation and start to see in a more holistic way. So there's so many to look at, and what we do is we training 4 areas. So it's the physical, which involves all the testing, all the physical surrounding elements that we need to test and check, and toxicity levels, deficiencies, and infections. And then we have as a next area, it's to do with lifestyle. Mm-hmm. What is our lifestyle like? What is our habits, drinking, eating, sleeping habits, the way we live, the surroundings we live in, the EMF, all of that. And then we look at the mind. How do we talk to ourselves? What is actually our mindset in certain areas of life? How do we cause stress to ourselves? And all the mental and emotional attributes. And then we go into life purpose, you know, whether it's actually something we want to live longer, or we want to have more purpose in life, because many people don't.
That's awesome. I really like that. That's a quite encompassing realm. So once again, it's the physical, which is what's going on in your body, out of your body, and even just in the things that you do around where you live as well. So the chemicals and stuff that you use. You've got lifestyle, which is the how you live your life realistically. You've got the emotional or mental side, and then you've got the actual driver of life, which is your why, your purpose, your passion.
Exactly.
That's great.
Covering those, we've made 6 videos that go through all of those stages in quite detail. So it's we've made that for patients. When somebody diagnosed or has a friend and they look for solutions, it opens up that pathway of understanding how we treat rather the patient instead of the disease. What we need to look out for, what are the main hooks that we need to address right away that could help or contribute to healing. and then how do we remove the root causes. So we go through those 6 videos in quite detail. And for those who think, wow, this is it, this is really the pathway that I would like to learn, we have a training that is internationally recognized. We have now over 2,000 students from the medical industry, like doctors, MDs, oncologists, that go through the training. Then a whole lot of naturopath and acupuncturists and chiropractors, and then also a huge array of health coaches and health professionals that go through the training. And because we are the only ones that do not follow that normal path, with cancer treatments, like there's hundreds of books that describe all the alternative cancer treatments, and many patients have tried that without success. We really are the only ones that address such chronic or late-stage degenerative diseases in that functional medicine way. So it's a real true to provide that to people.
And how about as an aftermath of, like, obviously, like you said, you've had over 2,000 students going through the program. They are then going out and utilizing these practices and protocols with their patients. What sort of stories are you hearing back about it?
It's pretty much always the same. It's like, my God, it's so simple and logical. And why does no one point that out beforehand?
Yeah.
I have that feeling that medicine, just by nature of medicine, trying to resolve the problem quick, has led us astray. And it's not only the conventional medicine, it's also alternative medicine. It's like, how do I fix high inflammation? How do I fix whatever, but it's already too late because it's already happened, cause that high inflammation in the body. And then finding out which components I can address fastest to make it go back. A lot of people think that high inflammation has to do with the diet they eat. Well, the majority has to do with your breathing. 80% of inflammation is caused by breathing. Not having enough oxygen in your system for the ATP production. So you go into a lactic acid build up, into a fermentation process, just by not having enough oxygen in your system, because we all have enough glucose, but we don't have enough oxygen to make that Krebs cycle work. So it's really fascinating. There's so many aspects that we can address that make the life of a patient so much in a very fast and effective way that healing can happen so much easier. Yeah,
that's really incredible. And I mean, obviously, you focus on making sure you see these things seen to first, but some of the therapies that you have talked about or that you do kind of dive into as well, what dictates when someone should be using these things like the PEMF or your ozone therapy? What dictates when they're ready for that?
Well, let's first cover shortly why we chose certain treatments over others, because there's hundreds of treatment modalities, and we keep it actually quite simple and narrow. It's because these treatments have been used in hundreds of clinics, and they keep using them. So this is, I learned on the way. Many treatments for cancer have been propagated, and everybody started out using them, and then you see they get used less and less until they more or less disappear. And every clinic you come to and you ask, do you still have a beamer, or do you still have this or that? They show that it's still in the corner, not proven efficient. And that was the same with Electro. That was the same with many of the different promised IV infusions. They all tried it for half a year to a year. The mortality rate didn't go down. The patient success wasn't improved overall, let's say after a year. So they cut out those treatments. And that's where I really became quite curious why some treatments have those highly promoted results and then they never happen. It's always because the in vivo and in vitro stage, like we tested in the Petri dish, and it works there, but it doesn't work in the body. But still, the principle counts. So, and that's when a whole lot of treatments fell through because they just respond in the body very differently.
Yeah.
So the main focus with our treatments is Ozone is 30 years of proven, over 6,000 studies, results galore. And every client that uses it now since 3 years or 4 years since we teach how to use it, every client has feedback, positive feedback, good results. Some of them have slow results, some of them have extreme fast results, but there's always results.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we stick to treatments where we have that consistency. And the same hyperthermia, if somebody goes through that treatment, they swear by it, like they know that it's the best treatment in the world. And it's proven to be effective, probably, I would say, in my surroundings 1,000 times. Patients that report back that they managed to reverse their cancer or stop progression and treat it back into scar tissue. Really amazing.
Did you say, 1,000 people that you've seen benefits from that?
Easy.
Yeah.
Look, we are now 20 years, 2 decades in that industry. And after releasing the movie 8 or 10 years ago, we started teaching and educating and having groups. And so it started more and more that we got interactive with people and learned how they use those treatments at home. The main focus with our is to self-empower. Mm-hmm. See, I can go to a clinic and have a hyperthermia treatment, cost me, let's say, $1,500 for one treatment, and I need about 5 to 10 treatments in like once a week. And if you do that, then that treatment parts out to be $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. Now you can buy yourself a dome and do the treatment at home for $2,500 and have a treatment modality for yourself for a period of time and for your family and friends. And the same thing with Ozone. So what we try to do with our education is to save our patients a whole lot of money. You can do many of the things that you're supposed to do privately at home, and you can do them really well. And you can get to 99% or 90% of what a doctor can do. But it's a lot cheaper. And then you use specialists for certain areas. Have to invest that amount of money as most of us think we have to. So that's the program that we teach to our students and clients.
That's incredible. So let's maybe break down each of these therapies that you guys kind of recommend for people to use. The first one being pulse electromagnetic field therapy. What is it? How does it work? What's the benefits from it?
Okay, you have an electric toothbrush.
Yep.
You probably know those little electric toothbrushes when they go tired.
Yes.
There is no cable. There's nothing that connects them. It's that inductive energy, that magnetic field that then recharges the battery. Mm-hmm. In a very similar way, the same for us. It's like charged dock. And then we are charged. Every single cell in your body is recharged with magnetic energy. Mm-hmm. And because magnetic energy is the Earth magnetic field, is a natural process, it's absolutely amazing. You can do in 10 minutes a recharge for all of them, recharge liver and thyroid and thymus functions and gut bacteria and joints, and it's just phenomenal. And you feel the energy increase dramatically. You feel pain relief, you feel relaxation. The added energy, the ATP, boosts the whole system. We have a few retirement homes and retirement villages that got the machine. And one of the nicest incidents, one of the nurses said, "Marcus, this machine is not good." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh my, why not?" She said, "Well, before we had pain and suffering and moaning and complaining, we do problems, parties at night, escaping elderly, going out, to have fun. And she said, it's our life just got a lot more complicated.
That's hilarious. That's so good. So essentially, could someone use... can they just go out and do grounding instead? Like, what's the difference between, say, using the PEMF compared to just doing grounding themselves if they're to find a patch of dirt and go and stand on that barefoot instead?
The voltage,
There's a big difference.
Extreme charge that you can get. Do we have a bad connection again?
No, I've got you. Yeah.
Okay. So the voltage is more or less indifferent. And we all know that. You go to nature 2 or 3 days and your whole life energy comes back.
Yeah.
It's a very gentle, very gradual process. The more time you spend outdoors and in nature, the more you improve. And that is certainly very, very valuable and good. But if you want in 10 minutes a recharge for a patient before they go into surgery, before they have IV, before they have any other treatment, if somebody's already tired and exhausted, see, if you have a chronic disease, it drains you.
Yeah.
It drains you ongoingly. And it's not a process of, recharging in 5 minutes. It's a recharge over weeks that would take. And that's where PMF is just that extra strength. Cells that it really transforms, a half natural lifestyle into a very, very natural lifestyle.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. And so progressing. Oh, how much does one of those machines go for, a PEMF?
Oh, that depends. They are starting at $6,000 US, going up to $20,000 US. So at the moment, with the exchange rate, they are very expensive.
Yeah. And how about something like a grounding mat or something like that you can sleep on compared to using something like a PEMF machine? Is there going to be? Is it once again just the voltage is not going to be great compared to?
No, it's a totally different concept. We don't agree with ground mat, for example, because they make you into an antenna. So as soon as you lay on
they make you into a what?
Become the antenna.
Ah, an antenna. Yeah, wow. Okay.
A lightning rod.
Yeah.
So you become the lightning rod more or less for any energy around to go through you. So the shielding is far better than using a grounding mat.
So like a Faraday cage or something.
We use shielding curtains. Exactly, stuff like that. Shielding curtain that has proven to be very healthy, whereas the grounding mats, people have adverse reactions. So I wouldn't. PMF is very different. It stimulates just like the Earth, the magnetic field, which you have everywhere, whether you're outdoors or indoors. You have that magnetic field everywhere, on mountains, on the flat. It's massive. But it is often not sufficient in our state of disease. So if we have a strong imbalance in our system that knocks our system off balance, then the absorption of natural energy is just deflated at the same time. And that's why PMF really has that big boost, especially to very sick patients. They feel like it's like giving them back life.
That's fascinating.
Life energy and energy to heal.
And so,
the next treatment.
Oh, before we move on, can you talk about the shielding curtains really quick?
Would you repeat that?
Sorry, please? I was just asking. Could you talk about the shielding curtains a little bit more?
The shielding curtains.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they become redundant as soon as we have 5G.
Okay.
The problem is there is no fabric that it's too fine. So what we need to do now is using paints and certain shielding paints, especially if you live in cities close to power poles and close to EMF routers. It's definitely worthwhile doing that. Because the curtains don't work anymore.
Yeah, okay. Fire out. There you go. It's a bit unfortunate. So the next therapy is ozone therapy, I believe.
Ozone therapy is just like same as PMF, an incredible energy boost. but it also triggers a cascade of immune response. Right now, coronavirus, like people get sick when they're exposed to the virus if they don't have protected cells.
Yeah.
Every cell is protected normally by catalase, superoxidase dismutase, and glutathione peroxidase. It's just enzymes that protect healthy cells. Now, to create healthy cells, you need oxygen.
Yeah.
And you need some of the base minerals, magnesium. And as soon as your body has the building blocks and you create a small of an oxidative stress, and has proven to do that, it creates a whole response in your body. Let's protect every cell. It's like one massive signal going out through the whole body saying, let's build enough protection so that all our cells are protected. And that is why ozone and those who are on ozone therapy and regular ozone insufflations cannot get the coronavirus. It's first of all, it's an antiviral and antibacterial treatment. So it helps you to heal if you already have it. But the best thing is if you use ozone therapy in advance, it protects all of your cells. And that's why it works for so many chronic diseases, because many of them are related to infections. Many cancers are related to infectious diseases. Cancers are related to viral infections, bacterial infections. And all of a sudden you have a treatment that reverses that root cause. It's phenomenal. Ozone is mandatory for all our clients.
That's unreal. So people should stop spending their money on toilet paper and go get ozone therapy instead, hey?
Exactly. That's actually a very wise advice. Stop buying toilet paper, which is bleached and toxic and everything. Use just water and a water bottle, and then do afterwards, once you're finished, an ozone insufflation, and you're done. And it's so much healthier.
And so when it comes to, I believe the next therapy is energy medicine in general and hyperthermia, so the two different ones. Energy medicine in general, what are we talking about there? Are we talking about like energy clearing, things like Reiki and bits and pieces, or something different?
No, I haven't dwelled into that area. This is too inconsistent for me, and that's why I've stayed out of that department of mystics and healing powers and Reiki. What we focus on with energy medicine is homeopathics. It's just the essence of the essence of the essence in the potency of 100, like 100 times the essence of Bach flower or of any kind of mineral, which is in the water. So it's more or less just energy, but it has proven effect. In the same way, when we talk about rife frequencies, they are proven to have an effect and to kill pathogens, bacteria, fungi, mold with the right frequency. So we know that near infrared has a very, very strong healing energy onto our DNA and energy production. So we use far infrared and near infrared for certain therapies, or light therapy that we use intranasal, for example, to stimulate the brain in cases of Alzheimer or Parkinson's. There's so many things that we can use natural frequency, like energy medicine, to in that potent form that works. It's really astounding. So that's what we call energy medicine, and hyperthermia is
Before we move on to hyperthermia,
form of that, yes.
Can we talk about like some of your, and it probably goes into it then with the hyperthermia, but some of the best machines or best lights that you've come across? Like we've interviewed Scott from Juve before. We've got like things like the human charger, but obviously they're kind of minor levels of these lights. Like in near infrareds, the Juve are quite good for that if you want to spend a lot of money on them. But is there like a therapy grade one that people should be looking into instead?
Oh, most certainly. Look, that's the beauty. When we created the training, I've actually recorded it 44 times until it was what we wanted it to be. So it's been a long process. That free training, just heal.com, the Chief Life, truly the Chief Life, and we've put extra for you training, which is free. And after they join for the training, they can watch the free documentary. They can go through several of our free training programs that we have on mind, on setting. And it also covers that cause finding, like how to find the real problem of your disease.
Ah, yes. Okay. I'm just going to repeat.
The main problem with suggesting any kind of treatment or any kind of device is always a problem if I don't know whether the person actually has that problem.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
So what we do in our training, we actually look is this something that you experience, whether that's a mucous membrane infection, sinus infection, ear infections. If that's a reoccurring theme for you, then that would be a great thing. If it's more brain fog related, then you would need to look into something else. So instead of looking at treatments, try to do is to really focus what is your problem, what is the symptoms that you feel, and then let's look at treatment would be more effective for that.
I love that. I'm just going to quickly repeat the training page because it was just cutting in and out again. So once again, it's trulyheal.com/the Chief Life. Trulyheal.com /the Chief Life. And that's where you guys can jump on and see that training all for free, as well as watch the documentary. The documentary, once again, is called Cancer is Curable Now, which is absolutely incredible. So let's dive a little bit into that last one, the hyperthermia then.
Okay, hyperthermia is my favorite treatment. I've seen too many miracles for it not to be. But the problem is it's also a tough treatment. You need to be pretty dedicated to getting well to enjoy that treatment. So it's pretty intense. But you are put into like a half dome, into a sauna dome.
Yep. And
your temperature is increased in 20 minutes to, let's say, 101.3, 101.5 in Celsius.
Sorry, degrees Celsius?
38.5, 39 Celsius.
Yeah.
So in 20 minutes, your body core temperature goes into fever.
Yeah, okay.
And then in beginning stages, we pull the plug and just observe how the fever develops. If the patient has increasing temperature or not, or whether it drops straight away after we pull the plug. So we learn how the body reacts. And we do that 2 or 3 times, and then we can take the body to higher temperatures, up to 39 Celsius, 39.5 or 40, even 41, and holding that for an hour or 2. Now, if you learn how your body works and how you can do that, and you bring your temperature up, there is that beautiful saying, show me how to create fever and I can cure every disease, from Hippocrates. It's true. It's like as soon as you develop a high fever, you kill off all bacteria in your body, you kill off all virus in your body, you create homeostasis with your immune system. Then you create a myriad of new white blood cells, which are produced in the bone marrow during the process of fever. So all of a sudden you have an immensely increased immune army to deal with cancers, with infections, with inflammation, with leaky gut and repair, and they are ready to work. Plus, due to that extreme blood flow that you have, during that fever stage, you detoxify your body in such a massive way that many of the German clinics say we don't need any other treatment besides hyperthermia, because we detoxify 5 times more in that time than any other treatment could do. So it's so many positive factors all at once that I just love it. And we have so many patients that curse me every time they go into the dome and they say, Marcus, what did you do to me? But they're feeling fantastic and they're feeling really good. And, you know, like instead of having 8 years of suffering with cancer, all of a sudden you have 1 day a week of hyperthermia, and that compensates for, you know, glorious pain-free life. That's beautiful.
And how is there a minimum effective dose, and can you do too much on it as well?
Well, once a week you go into fever. That's it. Once a week, and if you feel good, you can reduce it to every second week. But it's a very simple process. Nothing dramatic, nothing complicated. All you need is certainly good lifestyle to support it, and you know, we combine often with ozone because they are complementary.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do to maintain an incredible health, boost your immune system, strengthen your complete detox pathways. It's a phenomenal treatment.
It really is just hormesis on the body. It's kind of, and it's not the same effect, but it's similar sort of thing that you would see from, say, something like doing cold therapy when you are not sick. Say, for instance, that hormesis stage of your body saying, like, this would potentially kill me if I was to do it for too long, but so I'm going to deal with it right now. I'm going to make sure that it's sorted out. Is that correct?
Yeah, similar. Look, ice therapy and heat therapy both are extremes, and they attract only a certain type of person,
mm-hmm.
you know, very dedicated people. And maybe that's the reason why you find people who do hyperthermia, they are dedicated to get well. And that's probably also the reason why most of them who do the treatment really do get well.
Yeah, definitely. And what about, like, if someone wasn't suffering from cancer, is hyperthermia something that could be, like, well, useful for them?
Oh, there's several clinics in Germany. They prepare top athletes, Olympic players, and people that compete worldwide before they go overseas, before they have competitions. It's the Gesundklinik in Gießen. They treat patients with ozone therapy. It's called the legal doping. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks prior to going overseas, which means they can't get infections, they can't get diarrhea, they can't get all those normal problems that most sports people have when they go into another country. And secondary, their performance is so incredibly increased due to hyperthermia, having that mega amount of white blood cells for repair. They live 126 days. So when you have those cells in your body and they're released after fever, then you have that army for every repair job. So if you bruise, if you tear, if you hurt yourself, if you have any kind of physical stress, the body repairs much faster. So it's used as a doping for healthy and very top athletes.
That's unreal. And how long does a therapy like usually take, for instance, with the hypothermia? How long would that usually take? Because you said sometimes you can hold someone in there for like an hour and a bit.
Well, the heat up time is from 20 minutes to, let's say, 45 minutes. Uh-huh. And then you have an hour in the dome in that temperature as high as I achieve. And then you hold that, and then you have probably a half an hour cool off time because you can't go
just straight down.
out.
No. You
need to cool off a little bit and then have a warm shower and go to bed. So we do it usually in the afternoon, but it's a 3 to 4 hour treatment, you would call it.
That's unreal. Wow, that's really cool. I think there's a lot of insights there, and I do apologize for the listeners for the noise, but we are both in Queensland and copping some good rain right now. So if it is cutting in and out, I'm sure that everything that we've touched on plus more can once again be found at trulyheal.com/the Chief Life. I'm just going to double check. It was the Chief Life, wasn't it? It wasn't just no. Yeah, it is. It is the Chief Life. So once again, it's trulyheal.com/the Chief Life, and you can get that free functional medicine training there. Is there anything else or anywhere else that you would like to point them towards, Marcus?
No. Look. That's pretty much as soon as you come to that page, a pop-up box will pop up. You can subscribe with Facebook. It's just important that you accept our disclaimer because we teach non-FDA approved, non-legal therapies. Mm-hmm. that's not quite true. They might be legal in Russia.
Exactly.
They might be legal in Germany and Austria, but they're not legal in America or even prohibited in Australia. So that's why we have to hide behind our disclaimer, because we teach international treatments that have proven to work on a global scale. And for some people, they just are harder to get.
Yeah, and I don't see anything wrong with that, because obviously you guys are helping thousands of people, and you've got thousands of people flocking to you to learn from as well. So realistically, I feel that unfortunately we just have postcodes and country names to us sometimes that stop us from being able to do the best things, because some people might not see it as being the best therapy, because there might be some hoops to jump through and whatever else. Exactly right. Yes. Different.
We don't go into that subject.
No, but I feel like it's just important to know, because people might write it straight off, but realistically it's like, no, there's a lot of research going into this all over the world, and the best of the best are looking into it and actually dealing with it, because they're the ones that actually care, and are willing to put in the effort, like what you guys have done here, Marcus. So thank you once again. People can head across to trulyheal.com/thechieflife to find that free training, and really dive deep on the documentary and everything.
Yes, certainly. And like I said, it's a free resource. And if you feel attracted, we have a stunning team of teachers that guide our students. And like I said, we have oncologists in the program that learn about this type of medicine, and to health coaches and a lot of patients too that just learn it for themselves. So it's a very wide spectrum of knowledge that we cover that you can't find anywhere else. 20 years of research in hundreds of clinics, that's all put together into this training program. So it's really one of a kind.
That is absolutely unreal. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining me, mate. I really do appreciate it, and I really appreciate you seeing it through, even though the sound was not as best as it could have been. But I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you so much too, and you have all a good time.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
Visit thechieflife.com for all of your nutrition coaching needs, your own personalized meal plan, as well as how you can get involved with one of our 7-pillar retreats.